So way back at the beginning of my burlesque journey, I made this act. It is a housewife act to Hank Williams' song, Hey Good Lookin'. In the act, I would be making some cupcakes and get distracted, burn those cupcakes, but then still figure out a way to make it a happy ending. Took folks on a real emotional journey with this act, and it was so fun. It came out of the gate strong, very well received. I performed it constantly. It went immediately into my rotation, and it stayed in my rotation for a number of years. Eventually, the dragging around of a prop like that got to be a bit much, and actually eventually the prop itself fell apart because it's a toy. And when that happened, I decided to substitute out the plot line and the prop for a simpler stocking peel, and that worked out just as well, and it's still a very beloved act even without all of the story. In the summer of 2013, a new show was emerging in the Twin Cities. It would be a new performer showcase at the Townhouse Bar in St. Paul, Minnesota. It would feature about half a dozen performers, all under 2 years of experience, and they would duke it out in 2 acts and be voted on by audience applause. I went and was part of this first inaugural show. I didn't take home the win that night, but I had a great time and performed for many of my burlesque idols that night. The show eventually came to be known as Nudie Newbie, an amateur reveal, and it happened monthly at the Townhouse, which eventually became known now as the Blackheart of St. Paul. The show's success spread even to California when one of the producers moved to the Bay Area in San Francisco, and during the 2020 pandemic, it went worldwide with an online competition. The most recent producers have been Petty Treason here in Minneapolis, as well as Foxy Tan in Minneapolis, and Redbone from San Francisco. This past weekend, we saw the first edition of Nudie Newbies Nationwide, an all-weekend festival featuring performers from across the country coming into Minnesota to duke it out for the top spot. The headliner of the weekend was Jo Boobs Weldon, who happens to be the headmistress of the New York City School of Burlesque. I was delighted when I was invited to perform at the post-show bash, happening at the Blackheart after the last night of the festival, and I couldn't think of any act that would be more appropriate to bring to this show than the one I started at Nudie Newbies with. So I set about to bring her out of storage and give her a little tune-up. The first thing I decided to change up was the music. The original recording by Hank Williams is an absolute classic, but the quality it's a little rough. When I Saw the Light came out, Tom Hiddleston recorded an entire album of Hank Williams songs. Amazing. What can this man not do? Seriously. And just, what a babe. Can we just appreciate for a second? What a babe. Anyhow. So, I decided to use the new recording by Tom for my act. Here's a little side-by-side so you can hear the difference. So after that decision was made, I went about getting the costuming all ready to go. I had redone the lingerie once before, and I really did like the panties that I had done for it. They were really great, but I didn't like the newer garter belt I had chosen, so I decided to find something different, and I went on Amazon looking for a garter that would be just a little sexier, a little cuter. I was looking for something with some seams and some lines, and I found a really great one. I took the bra that I had used in the last upgrade and added some more rhinestones to the cups, and then went about getting the garter all blinged out. So this is the garter I found. I loved that it had so many seams and lines and the little polka dots and the little bows. It was just exactly what I was looking for. So threw it on my mannequin and got to work getting it all blinged out. Times like this, I really appreciate having a dress form because it makes doing things like this where you want the item to be stretched so much quicker. And then I did some rhinestoning on the skirt. Just did some regular crystal inside every one of the polka dots on the skirt. And then I added some rhinestones to the apron. And then it was time to get to rehearsing. This act is pretty well imprinted in my brain, but it had been, a year or two probably since I had performed it quite a bit. So it was time to make sure it was still in the bank for me. I bought some new stockings on Amazon and actually found a brand that did a Cuban heel that was like a true queen size, so it didn't pinch my thighs super hard, and I didn't put my fingernail right through them when I was rehearsing, so they seem fairly durable, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I think the worst part of rehearsing, especially an act with things like stockings, is having to reset your costume a bunch of times. It takes about 2 to 3 times longer than the whole act to run that once to put the costume back on, especially if you have something that requires a lot of reset, like stockings or breakaway pants or things like that. But it's an essential part of the process to rehearse and make sure you remember everything, especially since I was changing up the music. And then before we know it, it was show day. Here I am walking down the treacherous steps in the venue into the basement, into my glamorous space to get ready. Such a glamorous industry we have. Gotten ready in so many weird, somewhat damp basements or hallways and walk-in coolers. Glamour! It's so glamorous, let me tell you what. I'm really happy with how the lingerie turned out. It looks so good. And it was time to get all dressed and get ready to go on stage and do it up. It's so exciting, so exciting. And I was performing for a bunch of new performers from out of town that I had gotten to know over the weekend, and a bunch of my peers and friends. It was just good vibes all around in the house that night. So exciting. The venue was packed with people and it was just ready to rock. Petty Treason was on the mic. She was doing a fantastic job as always hosting. And now here's the performance.
This next performer, if you have seen them at all this weekend, they have assuredly told you that they were in the first ever New Year's competition. They did not win. Me fucking either, I feel good. But who fucking cares, because look where we're at. Absolutely! The burlesque community thrives because this person cares about it so much. The burlesque community in the Twin Cities is what it is because this person is a part of it and takes so much of her time and efforts and puts it back into things she cares about. So, you're welcome for this next performer. Better be fucking massive. Alright? You've got one order. Let me hear how excited you are for me to welcome the next performer.
Me.
So I think it went pretty darn well. Everybody really loved it. And it was back upstairs to enjoy some more of the show and getting on the curtain call and a little dance party afterwards. So much fun.
Whew. Do you want to see the best thing I chose to do tonight?
Look at what I did. 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 My bag is packed. My stuff is pulled together. My shit is hung back up.
That's what 10 years taught me.
So after the show, it was off to my post-show meal of Taco Bell in the back of a mall parking lot. The earth is healing. Burlesque performers are eating Taco Bell in their car again. Congratulations to Margot Manifesto for winning the competition of the festival. Thanks to all my castmates at the show at the Black Heart. Thank you so much to Foxy Tan, Petty Treason, and Redbone for producing this wonderful festival. And thanks to all of you for watching. I'll see you next time.